Where is Houston mother of four, Melissa Soders? Detectives narrow their suspects down to two: Melissa's estranged husband, Matthew Soders, and her current boyfriend, Jason Sanford. But that's about to change.
Harris County 911, Union Police Fire Ambulance.
I need to take somebody in.
This 911 caller is scared and wants to remain anonymous.
I don't want my name to come out.
But she has no problem blurting out one name: Matthew.
What is Matthew's last name? Do you know?
Soders. I know him. He was a really good friend of mine.
Friend? It's way more than that. The woman on the other end of the line claims to be Matthew Soders' lover. She tells dispatch that after Melissa went missing, Matthew stopped by her place.
He come over last night, soaking wet from head to toe. Truck was all muddy.
And then she drops this.
He said he blacked out and snapped and choked her to death and dumped her body in Spring Creek in a trash can.
He told you he put the body in a trash can and dumped it in Spring Creek?
Yes.
Police contact Texas EquiSearch, a volunteer search and recovery team with access to boats, divers, and sonar equipment.
We got a lot of challenges out there with all that debris that's in the water.
Then investigators ask Matthew's girlfriend if she'd be willing to wear wire and get him to confess once again. She agrees and sets up a meeting with her lover 3 days later. A digital voice recorder given to her by detectives records their conversation.
What did he say? Got a good case, told him all that would happen.
Matthew goes on to tell her he's confident he'll get away with murdering Melissa since cops haven't found a body.
Because right now they haven't found it. I don't think they're going to find it.
Matthew's lover pushes him to turn himself in.
Maybe he'll turn himself in. They're going to offer you a deal if you turn yourself in.
Then the woman makes an appeal for human decency.
I just think you should give her the proper burial. Tip it in. Coming on with stuff. I'll think about it.
The cops are listening to every sordid detail.
He really didn't believe that there's any way that we could figure this out or there was any way that we could pin this on him.
Then there's another big break in the case. Detectives receive information about an area of the creek where Matthew could have dumped Melissa's body.
It's a familiar space. He goes fishing there. That's his favorite spot. I just have the gut feeling.
Searchers focus their sonar detectors in that area of the creek.
There was something very interesting I was looking, and I really studied it hard last night.
New Year's Eve and New Year's Day come and go. It's now January 2nd and day 7 in the search for Melissa Soders.
We believe that Matthew is the one that's killed Melissa, but we haven't found her body yet.
Then, just downstream, search teams spot something below the water.
We ended up finding Melissa's body in a creek, and Melissa had been weighted down and was, pretty deep in the water.
And how do they know it's Melissa? The coroner's office will make the official identification, but there's one thing the cops zero in on. It's a tattoo near her hip bone. 4 letters, 1 word: Matt.
It wasn't until they called me asking me for information about identifying marks on her body, tattoos, stuff like that, that it hit me. Oh my God, she is dead.
Melissa's family is devastated.
It tore my heart out. I just couldn't imagine. It was a shock. It was a shock.
The coroner officially identifies the body as Melissa Soders, but due to the cold wintertime water and the body being submerged for 7 days.
Unfortunately, the medical examiner's office could not tell us an exact cause of death, but they ended up ruling the case what they call homicidal violence. In other words, someone did something to her, they just can't say exactly what.
Still, cops are ready to get their man.
As soon as we found Melissa's body, we were able to get the warrant for Matthew's arrest. So we knew that Matthew had an idea that this was coming.
Undercover special ops teams are watching the house, ready to strike if Matthew tries to make a break for it. Then there's movement.
And we saw Matthew attempting to leave the house with his dad.
Matthew is arrested and charged with his wife's murder.
Obviously, you're in custody, you're under arrest. You know, you've been charged with murder. You know, we now have Melissa's body. I know. Melissa's been found.
Unlike their last interview, Matthew doesn't want to talk to anyone except his lawyer. News cameras are there as Matthew Souders appears in court.
Matthew Souders, you're here on a charge of capital murder, and I'm led to believe that it involves the murder of 2 people, including a unborn child.
That's right, Matthew's estranged wife was 2 months pregnant at the time of her murder.
According to some of Melissa's friends, she had pictures on her phone of the positive pregnancy test.
The baby wasn't Matthew's.
Jason was the father of her baby.
Sadly, a baby he will never meet.
I mean, it was heartbreaking. I didn't want to believe it.
We think that maybe Matthew saw some of the stuff on her phone related to the pregnancy. Maybe that's what caused him to snap.
After gathering all the evidence, prosecutors believe Matthew knew his wife was pregnant when he killed her, but they aren't sure they can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. They are forced to vacate the capital murder charge.
We ended up pleading him to the crime of murder, where we don't have to prove that she knew she was pregnant, but just that he wanted to kill her.
Facing a mountain of incriminating evidence, Matthew pleads guilty to murder. His father and copy editor at the Houston Chronicle releases a statement to his own newspaper. He says, quote, "I'm proud of him for taking responsibility and sparing everybody a trial. And no trial means we will never hear Matthew's side of the story. So we reached out to him." Since Matthew Souders was put behind bars,
He hasn't talked to anyone. However, today he was scheduled for an exclusive Crime Watch Daily interview with me from behind bars. However, when we arrived, he wouldn't even come out of his cell.
But whatever Matthew's story, it doesn't change the fact Melissa is gone.
Why leave the kids without a mother and a father? He was adopted himself. He was at an orphanage when his parents adopted him and his twin sister. He would know what it's like, you know, to not have parents.
Melissa's children remain with Matthew's parents while their father serves out a 60-year sentence with the possibility of parole after 30 years. But Melissa's family claims they got a worse sentence, life without Melissa.
What would you say to Melissa?
I miss you and I love you. I wish you were here.
And I will never forget her.